Hi, it's Ian. This is day 8 of my Namibia trip 2016, and I thought I'll give you a bit of an update on my feelings on the new Africa Twin, what I found, and also to show you this lovely little campsite we have in the central Namibian area of Mirabib. We're at this massive overhang, under this massive overhang of rock, and there's two of us. So far we've done about 3,000 miles. We've had a real good trip, I must say, with one exception. On the other Africa Twin, which is an old Africa Twin 2002 model, which has the same front tire, which is a 1990 21-inch, we've had 3 punctures in one day. We actually wind up taking the front wheel off 5 times, which was actually not fun at all. But we cannot fault the tire, which is the Mitas E10. That's really done well for itself. I think in our particular case the problem was more not so much the tire itself, but the inside of his rim, which has a rubber band which covers the head of the spokes. That had perished, so we were constantly puncturing the tubes. We wound up putting his bike on the back of a trailer and trucking it about 180 kilometers, about 110 miles, to Swakopmund, where we could get the tire done professionally. I mentioned I run these pressures at about 1.6, 1.8 bar, about 25 psi. What I think I should mention is also how I run the rear. A lot of my colleagues who take off-road adventure riding very seriously drop the pressures on the rear tire too. I think it's not really necessary, depending on how much you've loaded the bike. I run the rear tire at about 2.2 bar, which is about 34, 36 psi the whole time, irrespective of tarmac, sand, gravel, or riverbed. And I think it works out very well. Keeps it nice and hard, and you know where you are. Plus it carries all the weight. Very impressed with the bike. My fear that the consumption would limit the range was unfounded. 18.8 liters is absolutely adequate for the 200 miles, 350 kilometers we like to do per day. And I don't think one should do any more than that. Up early and you get to where you want to be early. That's the secret to adventure riding. Another part of the kit is my tent. I have a one-man tent, which in retrospect is too tiny, because one can't put anything else in it but yourself. In this case, a stretcher, which is a ribs stretcher, very lightweight, very good idea, works very well, very comfortable. And then I bring a little camping mat as well, sleeping bag, and a couple of odds and ends, but you can see there's very, very limited space. So my advice in this particular case is get a 2-man tent. There's always space for you to put a bit more into it. And it has to have a fly screen. Very important with a fly screen. We have a couple of flies here. So, the Africa Twin has done very well for itself on this trip. We've got about another 1,000 miles to go, and I don't foresee any problems, hopefully. She's going very well. Some of the other kit I have, a little barbecue grid with a cover, fuel bladder, and I take 3 pairs of socks, 3 t-shirts, and I wash each set every day, including a pair of boxer shorts, underpants, every day. First priority. We don't have any water where we are now, so nothing's being washed today, but under normal circumstances we would. And if you're in the desert environment like this, it dries within half an hour. It's very dry at the moment. My boots are former off-road, not MX motocross boots. Motocross boots are a little bit too tight. You often wind up walking. These are very good boots to walk in. Whereas motocross boots don't bend like this. So I would recommend that. Well, I hope you found this a little informative. And remember, keep the sunny side up. Enjoy.